It's going to feel like it's going on for a long time, so it's going to be hard to stay alert. It's going to be even harder to be quiet, but you have to do both. Understand?
Wow, Sandra Bullock, I think you need to chill.
Netflix and chill. But Tish.
Hi everyone, welcome to CineChat podcast. This week we're looking at Netflix and the future of cinema.
Ooh, big topic.
It is a big topic. It is extremely relevant at the moment because everybody is talking about streaming platforms and what's coming next. But before we get into that, we're going to jump straight into the news. Cue the news.
Love that part. Thank you very much, Mary. Yes, I'm hosting the news this week. There's just a couple of hot topics I think that have happened in the week. One is that James Dean is going to be resurrected via the magic of CGI for a new film set during the Vietnam War. Apparently. Yeah, this film is called Finding Jack, and it's based on and ties in with the abandonment of more than 10,000 military dogs at the end of the Vietnam War.
Wow.
Nobody asked for this, I don't think, did they?
No, I don't think anybody wants it either.
I'm intrigued by it. I mean, I love James Dean.
Yeah, but that's not a reason to bring him back from the dead.
It's a very unusual, just out of the blue choice.
Well, they've said something along the lines of they couldn't think of any actor that would be able to do this role. I think that's probably extremely untrue.
Yeah.
An actor could do this role.
Mm-hmm.
But more than anything else, I think you've got to look at it from the ethical point of view.
It's a very respectful thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, he's not being given a choice whether he would want to take part in that film.
No. All I can see here is that they've bought the rights to use his image from James Dean's family. But
yeah, I'm quite surprised they've said yes to it, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how that pans out. In other news, Ricky Gervais has been announced as the host of this year's Golden Globe Awards. How do you feel about that choice? It's his 5th time.
I don't like Ricky Gervais at all. I don't like his comedy. I think it's really over the top, and he's looking to affect people by what he's saying. He's insulting people and saying really risque things, and it just doesn't do anything for me, so I'm not very happy about it, really.
I do quite like it because he's so good at roasting Hollywood, and he's a bit of an outsider, which I think is a refreshing point of view. And for him to be put in that environment, it's almost like a complete culture clash.
There's so many more people you could have picked.
Well, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So,
the thing is, though, the Golden Globes is so much more of an informal evening.
Yeah, it's the most informal out of all of them. They get to eat and drink, and you get to see them actually enjoying themselves rather than just sitting, which I think is why they seem to enjoy it so much.
Interesting. Sonic the Hedgehog got a new trailer this week, following a mass outcry from fans across the world because of the design of Sonic. Have you seen this?
I have. I don't know how to take this, because I did think when they first showed what Sonic was going to look like that it looked really jarring.
Unusual.
It was a really odd choice. But when I've seen what they've brought out, it doesn't look that different to me.
The original design had strange teeth, it had really long legs, its eyes were weird. I think most of all, it just didn't look like the original game character.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? You're looking at already existing product. It's going to be very hard to do anything, any kind of adaptation of any sort, because people remember the original and they take it to heart.
But what's fascinating is that the studio themselves actually withdrew their design. They've gone back to the drawing board and they've listened.
Yeah.
It's unheard of, but it's really fascinating at the same time.
It's interesting because it's giving the audience license to choose.
Absolutely. Last little piece of news, and this ties in nicely to what we'll be doing next week as well. The Little Mermaid has cast their Prince Eric this week, a young British actor called Jonah Hauer-King. I mean, he's not really been in much before, so there's not much really we can assess him by apart from what he looks like.
He's an unknown, really.
The cast for this film, some of which are just rumoured at the moment, includes Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, Jacob Tremblay as Flounder, Javier Bardem as King Triton, and another relative newcomer, Halle Bailey, who's set to play Ariel.
I think it's really interesting, but I'm not sure how I feel about it. Melissa McCarthy, I think, will be fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea. I think to see her playing the villain,
Mhm.
like a proper villain.
I don't know if she was one of the rumoured ones or one of the confirmed ones. I have a feeling it might be rumoured, but everyone is at this stage because I don't think they've even got a release date for this film.
No, I don't think they do. But I mean, it's intriguing where they're going, and to cast unknowns for a few of the roles as well is quite a good thing, I think, rather than just going with all known people.
And that's directed by Rob Marshall, who previously did Chicago, Into the Woods, and Mary Poppins Returns. So I think that's a good track record. We'll be talking more about Disney remakes next week, but in the meantime, that's the news.
Okay, fabulous. So this week we're doing Netflix and the future of cinema. So how did you get on this week prepping for this episode?
It's unusual for me because Netflix and streaming in general is not usually a topic of conversation that I follow, except for what you tell me. So this has definitely been different compared to, say, last week. So we've had to approach this one a lot more from an industrial perspective, but I like that.
Yeah.
I found it more interesting in the end than I thought I would.
Well, I'm going to be testing your research this week with a Netflix and streaming quiz.
I forgot.
Yeah. So you've got 8 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 8 questions, there are 17 points that you could earn. Yes.
Okay.
So let's get started. Right. Okay, Matt. Question 1.
Oh God.
What year was Netflix founded?
Okay, I don't know the answer, but I did read somewhere this week that it's 20 years old. Oh, hang on, Netflix started as a video shop, so I just have to take a stab and say 1999, if that's 20 years ago.
Ooh, incorrect, but I'll tell you all the answers at the end.
Oh, I'm 1 year out, aren't I?
I'm not going to tell you. I'll tell you at the end.
Okay. All right.
Okay, number 2. This one should be easy.
Okay.
Name the 3 biggest cinema chains in the UK.
Cinema chain. View.
Yep.
Cineworld.
Yep.
Odeon.
Yes, correct. 3 points. That makes up for the first one, doesn't it?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so you sound a bit nervous, Matt.
Okay.
Okay, question 3. Name 3 of the newly created streaming platforms that have launched or are launching soon.
Disney Plus.
Yes.
Apple. Is it Apple TV Plus?
Yes.
How many am I doing?
3.
There is HBO Max.
Yes.
Only because you told me earlier.
Oh, there you go. I gave you an answer.
Sorry.
At least I know you were listening.
Yeah, I always listen.
Okay, number 4. Name 2 Netflix movies nominated for Oscars in the 2018-19 award season.
The one just gone.
Yes.
Roma, my favourite of last year.
Yes, I knew you'd get that one. Yes. What was the other nominated film?
Can I just check? It's not a documentary, is it?
It's not a documentary.
Okay. Oh, it'll be the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
That's correct.
Yes! Get in, Matt. Get in.
Question 5. Name the 2 Disney Plus original movies advertised for the launch date.
Lady and the Tramp.
Yes. The next one's very suited to me.
It's Christmas. It's Noel.
It is. Well
Yes,
done.
I am so good at this.
Yes. So, question 6. On which date was Disney Plus launched in the US?
12th of November.
That's correct.
Yes. Yes, yes. I'm so good at this. I've just got a good memory.
What is the name of Apple TV Plus's talent-filled news show? Bonus point if you can name its stars.
What? Talent-filled news show?
Yes, it's the news show that they have been advertising for their launch.
I don't think I've heard about this, so I'll make up a name and say it's called Apple Crunch.
That one's incorrect. Have you seen who's been advertising Apple TV recently?
No, all I can say is I always see Kevin Bacon on an advert. So it's Kevin Bacon hosting Apple Crunch.
I'm afraid to say that's not correct, but I will tell you at the end.
I didn't know that.
Last question. Within 50, how many cinemas were there in the UK as of last year?
Oh God. Within 50. Okay,
Within 50.
this is hard. Any kind of cinema.
Any cinema.
Part of me wants to say quite a low number, and then part of me wants to say no, it's probably a very big number.
Take a guess.
10,000. I don't know.
Wow, that's a lot of cinemas. That would
Oh,
be
is it?
that would be incorrect, I'm
I
afraid.
think it's 30,000. I don't know.
That would be incorrect, I'm afraid. Let's go through these answers.
Okay.
So, the year Netflix was founded was
Is it 98?
1997. You were close. You're only 2 years.
I think I've probably read an old article, and it said Netflix is 20 years old this year, and I've just taken an educated guess.
Yeah, you were very close. The next one you got correct. That was the 3 biggest cinema chains. They
Yeah.
account for 70% of the market, with Cineworld having the largest market share at 24%.
Oh, okay.
The third question you got correct. Disney Plus launched on November 12th in the US, and it will not come to us until March 31st, unfortunately. Apple TV, that launched on November 1st, and HBO Max is, I think, next May.
Mm-hmm.
Question 4, you got correct. Roma and the Ballad of Buster Scruggs were very successful last year.
I don't know how I pulled that one out of the bag.
The 2 Disney Plus original movies you got correct, Noelle and Lady and the Tramp, they were ranked 47% and 63% respectively on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
You got the launch date for Disney Plus correct.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm quite impressed, but it was this week, so good memory.
I just pick up information.
What's the name of Apple TV Plus's talent-filled news show? That would be The Morning Show, and it stars Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon.
And Kevin Bacon.
No, Steve Carell.
Oh, right, okay.
Kevin Bacon obviously didn't make the cut.
No.
And within 50, how many cinemas were there in the UK as of last year? It was, sadly, not 10,000. It
Really?
was 775.
Is that it?
That's it.
I'm maybe thinking our country's bigger than it actually is.
Yeah, 9,000 odd off.
Oh, never mind. I didn't know.
But that's your quiz.
Hooray, thank you.
Out of 17 points, Matt, you got 11 points.
Oh, I'm happy with that.
Which
I'm
is
happy with
not
that.
bad.
I surprised myself there.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
good.
quite impressed.
Yay! Can I cue the outro music?
Yes.
Cue the outro.
Okay, so now we're going to start with our discussion of Netflix and streaming platforms. So, Matt, my first question to you is, what is your relationship with Netflix and other streaming platforms?
I don't follow the crowd much with this topic. I dip in and out of Netflix, really. I'm not much of a TV person. There have been times where I've reactivated my account just to watch a TV series like The Crown or a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
But in general, in terms of film choice, I don't think it's ever really been that great. So yeah, my relationship is it's on and off. I do occasionally reactivate my account if there's something that I want to see, but I do spend more time not having Netflix than I do with it. But
Yeah.
it just depends on what's out at the time.
For me, I mean, we do have Netflix. I do more follow the crowd. I don't tend to watch everything as soon as it comes out like a lot of people do. But I like to have it there because the original content side of streaming platforms like Netflix excites me. I think they're making bold choices. They're doing things that movie studios aren't doing or can't do anymore. And that I think is exciting. So it's something I wouldn't want to be without. What about other streaming platforms that are launching? Because I mean, everybody now, every studio is launching a streaming platform. Is there any that you think you would be tempted to get?
Up until last night, no. Disney themselves have released a video showing what it is that's going to be on there.
Yeah, like a show reel.
It is, They literally are putting everything out there.
Yeah, well, they have everything, don't they? They own everything, so
Yeah, that's it. And the fact that obviously they're going to be quite exclusive in the fact that you have to be subscribed to them to actually see some of their newer films coming out.
yeah.
It's a very clever marketing ploy,
Oh,
which I
yeah.
may fall victim to. It depends on whether I can reactivate and deactivate my account like I do with Netflix.
I fully intend to get Disney Plus when it comes out in March.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It'll probably be really, really good.
I just think there's so many things that look like they could be of high quality and like have got great potential more than anything else. And there's quite a few things I wouldn't want to miss. And obviously Disney owns Fox now as well, so
Yeah.
they've got all of Fox's back catalogue.
They've got my X-Men.
Yeah, the amount they've got on there in terms of a back catalogue is worth getting it for. I mean, it's going to be $6.99 a month in America, so I'm thinking it'll probably be around about the same here.
Yeah.
Not even thinking about all the original content they'll be putting on there. I think that's absolutely worth it. You've just got so much at your fingertips. So yeah. So what have you watched this week to kind of prep for this?
I feel like of their original films, I'd already seen a lot of them. The only really major one that I watched was last night, and I watched Dolomite Is My Name, starring Eddie Murphy.
Ah, see, I haven't seen this, so what did you think of that?
I actually really enjoyed it. It wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be about. I didn't realise it was about a comedian, first of all.
Right.
But a bit like when Judy came out this year, it's another career best performance, I think, from an actor who's maybe not been the top of their game yet.
Well, he's coming back, isn't he? They are really pushing him at Netflix at the moment to show this comeback for Eddie Murphy, and they're really pushing him in the awards talk.
He's very good in this. If he got a nomination for something this year, I wouldn't be surprised. Probably more of a Golden Globe shot, really, because they have the musical and comedy category. But
yeah,
I actually really enjoyed it, and it sort of becomes the second half a film about making a film.
right.
It's like a more sophisticated version of, say, The Disaster Artist or something like that, because he goes on this sort of bold mission to make a film that maybe isn't everyone's cup of tea. So yeah, there's quite a few from the last sort of 2 or 3 years that I have already seen. Obviously, Roma.
Yeah, I didn't really like Roma. I did watch it on Netflix last year when it came out.
You didn't say you didn't like it, did you?
No, I didn't say I didn't like it. I appreciated what he'd done. It was a beautifully made film, and the way he put it together, obviously from his memory and how everything looked when he was growing up. I think painstaking research and skill went into the production design for that. So I appreciate those things. But again, for me, story-wise, it didn't really pull me in. I wasn't particularly interested in it.
It was the first very popular Netflix film at the Oscars, though, wasn't it? In both the foreign language category, which it won, and it was nominated for Best Picture, among other things as well.
It really sparked debate last year because there are certain camps among the Hollywood ranks that do not think that Netflix should be allowed to submit films for awards. How do you feel about that? You loved Roma.
I don't see why it should matter really whether or not it's had a cinema release or not, because at the end of the day, it's still a film. So, does it bother me that Netflix films are getting nominated? No, so long as the quality of them is up to standard.
They'll be pushing for a few this year. They've got Marriage Story, haven't they? The Two Popes. And they've got one more, haven't they?
The Irishman.
The Irishman, yes, that's right.
As if we just didn't Scorsese week.
That's 3 very high quality films that they're going to be pushing.
It'll be interesting to see going forwards whether this momentum and the volume of Netflix films, part of the discussion, will continue to be this high.
Yeah, and I mean, if they are successful, especially looking at this year is really going to be the tell, I think.
Yeah.
Because they are such high quality films that they're putting forward, whether people are going to go for it. What's the future going to look like? Because we've got the likes of Disney Plus and Apple. If they start submitting films as well, are we going to see almost a takeover of award season with streaming platforms?
As soon as you mention takeover, that's when I start going, ooh, do I want that?
Yeah.
It's I don't want to say slippery slope, because it's not all bad.
No.
But it's something that could snowball into something else.
Yeah. Well, for this week, I watched 4 Netflix films that I hadn't seen. So I watched The King with Timothée Chalamet, which is...
I should have said I did watch that as well.
Quite a new one, that one. I watched Murder Mystery, which came out earlier this year, that kind of people were raving about, and I watched The Laundromat, which has just come out, and that was talked about for its quirkiness, I think,
Yes.
more than anything else. And I finally got round to watching Bird Box. Not quite all of it. I've got half an hour left to finish. I was going to read the book first. That's why I never watched it last year, because it was huge. Everybody was talking about it.
Bizarrely, it was very popular. My issue with Bird Box, I didn't think it was bad at all. It was really exciting and I love the concept.
Yeah.
For me, obviously Bird Box has come out on Netflix. Everybody who has Netflix has gone, oh my god, a brand new film, watched it, and it's kind of got all this hype. But outside of Netflix, there's many films that are like Bird Box that are much better.
Yeah, I think they said Bird Box got 80 million content views.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's the most deserving film. It's weird how things go viral.
What I can take from the 4 films that I watched, I can see the quality in the work. I can see why they're appealing to the audiences.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know. The King, The King was great. You could see the quality on screen. It had been really well made. But it was a bit meh.
Yeah.
It didn't really spark anything.
It felt small and big at the same time, which I think a lot of these films do.
Yeah, Murder Mystery I thought was god awful.
It's complete crap.
Oh, it was. I can see why people would enjoy it. It's just easy watching, and it's a bit Agatha Christie twist to it.
I think that's not. No, we shouldn't put Agatha Christie's name anywhere near this. I think it's another one of those where it's come out and everyone's gone, oh my god, a murder mystery film. There's none of those out there just because they're on Netflix.
Yeah.
And if you look beyond Netflix, yes, there are, and they are far better than that.
Yeah.
Even comedy ones is far better one. You've got Clue, you've got Murder by Death.
I didn't think as a comedy it was very good.
No.
I don't remember laughing at any part of it, really. That one just didn't do anything for me at all. The Laundromat was an interesting film. Again, though, it was a bit meh.
Yeah.
It just, its ideas and its intentions were good, and what it tried to do, I think, did to an extent work, and how it was put together in the actual format of it.
It leaves you a bit like, okay. That's what I felt like saying at the end. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there was nothing to really. Well, it won't draw me back. Let's
Well, I'm
put it
wondering
that
whether
way.
part of the draw for some filmmakers to go to Netflix is so that they can get messages out there that maybe are a little bit not unconventional, but not necessarily something that you would expect people to pay to go and see in a cinema.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they just wouldn't get them made anywhere else. Studios would not go for a film like The Laundromat.
Because this is about tax evasion. Yeah.
It's just not something that they would put their money into, because it wouldn't see results for them, I don't think, if it was to come out in a cinema setting.
And to have such a quirky style as well. Not to say that there weren't big names in there.
Yeah, there was lots of big names in it. I think Meryl Streep, especially her last scene, I won't give any spoilers, but I think that was the most powerful part of
I thought
the
Gary
film.
Oldman throughout was very good.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have said Meryl Streep wasn't in it a lot, but I thought she was in it a fair amount, really. I didn't.
She was. The film's in 3 parts, and you don't realise that she's only in one of the parts. And the other parts feel a little bit odd because there's no big name actors in them.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of an imbalance there, because you're kind of like, oh, a Meryl Streep film, and then 2/3 of it a different film with no one in, with people that I don't know.
I think my overall take from all of this is that these movies at Netflix, and what Netflix are doing, I think it's mass appeal mixed with risky undertakings that studios wouldn't take a chance on.
Yeah, they're definitely getting a lot more creative freedom.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's because there's like a lessened financial and box office pressure, and there's less commercial benchmarks for them to be hitting, because the way that Netflix works as a business model is not the same as, say, getting ticket sales in a cinema.
So that leads on to what I was going to say next. So we're going to talk a little bit about streaming platforms. So I've done some research this week on what the new platforms are going to be doing and how they're trying to attract themselves to viewers. I think they've all looked at the Netflix model, seen how successful Netflix is, and it's going to be interesting looking at this to see how they're going to go, basically, what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
So we'll start with Disney Plus. The original content is a huge for Disney Plus. They were really selling it. They've got Noelle coming out for Christmas. Lady and the Tramp is going straight to the platform rather than having a cinema release. So the premise for a lot of what they're advertising is really interesting. And we've already talked about the back catalogue. I mean, it's unbelievable. They've got the Disney animated and live action movies, which they've obviously been creating for the last 70, 80 years. They own Pixar, so all the Pixar movies will be on there.
Yep.
Star Wars, because they bought Lucasfilm. All of the Marvel films, because they own Marvel. And this year they bought Fox, didn't they?
They stole my X-Men.
Yeah, so I mean, it's huge what they are advertising for the price, especially. I think yes.
My only concern would be, would that price always stay like that? Are they going to then start introducing extra tiers? It almost seems like it's a too good to be true thing at the moment.
Yeah, I think the more that they put on there, the more the price will creep up.
Yeah, but by that point you'll already be hooked.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Apple TV is another one. They are only charging $5 a month. The original content that Apple TV are pushing at the moment, it's intriguing stuff, a lot of TV. And they're also planning to make 6 small budget awards worthy films every year with an eye on generating buzz for the service and nabbing some Oscar nominations along the way.
The fact that they're calling their films prior to them being made awards worthy is interesting.
But you can see that they are already trying to compete with Netflix, and they're literally only just launching. So you can see that they want what Netflix have.
It's interesting to see them sort of battle it out, knowing that they're all new.
Their back catalogue's not quite as impressive. They've said that they have thousands of films, including the latest blockbusters from iTunes. You can buy, rent, and watch all from inside the app.
So you have to pay extra.
So it sounds a little bit like Amazon Prime in that respect.
Yeah.
But what thousands of films? Because they haven't really announced anything. They haven't said anything. So, what are they going to have? That's the interesting thing. And then we've got the new big one, which is just announced quite recently from Warner Brothers, and that's HBO Max. Now, that's going to be $15 a month.
Oh,
It's triple what Apple TV is going to be, and almost the same for Disney. So that's going to be very interesting to see how it competes. They have announced that they've got a deal with J.J. Abrams for $250 million.
okay.
This production deal. They haven't announced anything more than that, but they've got a deal with him. Let Them All Talk is a Steven Soderbergh directed film starring Meryl Streep, Diane Wiest, and Candice Bergen.
I love Diane Wiest.
Yeah, and that's a HBO Max exclusive, so they're pushing that. They're doing an animated Gremlins prequel. I'm interested in that.
Animated Gremlins?
Yeah, I like a bit of the Gremlins, so that'll be interesting.
Okay.
So,
right.
They've got some things there.
There's something. I don't know if they sound like quality things to me.
Yeah, they're not quite as impressive. And their back catalogue, obviously, is all the Warner Brothers movies. I think they've also done a deal with TCM, which is Turner Classic Movies. So they'll have a lot of the old Warner's classics, Casablanca, things like that on there as well. So I think that would be a draw for some people. Obviously, they have all the DC films, so all of those will be on there. And they've also got New Line Cinemas catalogue and Castle Rock Entertainments.
Oh, there's quite a lot in there.
They also have done a deal with Studio Ghibli to have 21 of their films. So that's the 3 big ones. What do you think about that?
If anything, overall, I think it's Apple TV content-wise that I don't really see the draw. But again, without the specifics of what they're going to have on there.
Yeah. They were very vague when they did their first kind of launch.
It sounds like they've seen the trend developing and they've gone, right, we need to jump on this ASAP. Created this show as an interim teaser, and then actually behind the scenes they're going, right, what the hell can we put on our platform? Sounds a little bit like that.
I mean, looking at all 3 of those there, you can see that stars and directors are really being drawn to streaming right now.
Yeah, just a different business model, meaning that they can do more with less pressures and probably reach a more international audience.
So what would you say, out of all of them, was there anything that you are excited about in terms of the original content? Was there anything that really sparked your interest?
Original content, no. If anything, I'd still be interested by the Netflix films.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's great to have the back catalogue. especially for things like Disney.
Yeah, it's more of what they have already that interests you rather than what they're trying to it.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's a library, a quite cheap library that Disney Plus have got. That's the only thing really at the moment that I would be somewhat intrigued by.
Yeah, I'd like to briefly discuss awards.
Mm,
So The Irishman, we know has chances for awards.
yes.
The big question this year is, can Netflix land 3 Best Picture nominations? What do you think?
I think it could definitely get 2, and it probably will get 2. The Two Popes I've not heard so much about, only with the exception of the trailer that came out. I don't see it myself as being a front runner for any categories. But the other two, The Irishman and Marriage Story, I reckon will be very successful. In nominations, if not in winning something.
Yeah. Do you think obviously I think it's almost certain that there'll be nominations for these films.
Mm.
But do you think they'll translate to a win? Because there is a lot of dislike and distrust from the award bodies for streaming platforms. Do you think that will stop people from voting for those films?
It's tough, really, because there's the very well-known people who are speaking out against the streaming sites, but at the same time, the Academy in general have broadened their membership to include a lot more people from diverse sectors of the industry. A lot of younger people as well have been joining, so I don't know whether the balance of probability will actually go in the favour of streaming.
Yeah.
They often say that getting a nomination is like a win. If you get that recognition, you've kind of made it.
Yeah.
But looking at The Irishman alone, I can see it getting a Best Picture, director, actors, editing, production design. Like we said last week, Scorsese bringing back his classic kinetic style is going to go down a treat. Even visual effects, because they're doing a lot of aging down and things like that.
Yeah.
I think it could be one of the most nominated films this year.
I'm very interested to see how this award season goes because can Netflix get the wins? Yes, they got Roma last year for what will this year be international film, but it's not quite the same, is it?
No.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Right, I'd like to move us over to cinema.
Yay!
Streaming platforms are affecting cinema
Yes.
in a big way. So I'd like to first ask you, what's your relationship with cinema?
In terms of childhood, I don't think we actually went that often. It was more of a special occasion thing, but I'm content with that really because I think if I went all the time, it wouldn't have felt as special as it actually did.
Yeah.
I think more towards the end of the 90s and early noughties where there were sort of more franchises like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, X-Men that meant that you were going more regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And you were seeing a few releases of different franchises per year. I think that's when it got a bit more regular. Otherwise, I think we were a lot more VHS oriented, and I became a big DVD collector for much of the noughties as well. But that doesn't mean that I didn't value the cinema experience, and obviously I go a lot more now. So I'm always a big advocate for actually going and seeing something in the environment that it was intended to be viewed in.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What about you?
It's always been such a big deal to me.
Mm.
My dad used to take us a lot when we were kids because my mum used to work night shifts on a Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to get us out of the house. And something that we did a lot was go to the cinema, and it just captivated me.
Yeah.
Sitting in the dark and waiting for the film to start. It was just a magical thing. I was completely lost in it.
Yeah.
I'd just completely forget the world existed, and you'd walk out and hit daylight afterwards, and it'd be like, oh, life's still going on.
I'm always very fixated when I go to the. I still am now. You'll see that I don't breathe or move throughout the whole thing. I'm very absorbed.
Yeah, it's just an experience that means such a lot to me. Actually, I'm going today to the cinema. So, but there's nothing beats a good cinema experience. So, with that in mind, do you have a best cinematic experience?
Yeah, I think so. There's only one really that sticks in my head, and I don't know whether you would say the same thing because you were there.
Oh yeah, I think we're going to have the same answer.
Yeah. Interstellar. Yes. Yeah, Interstellar was maybe the most visceral cinema experience I've had. I think both of us just went through the full range of emotions and even.
We were just speechless when it finished. Just sat there for 10 minutes and
it was
couldn't say anything at all.
It was bizarre. Yeah, a close second for me was Dunkirk, which I went to see twice, and I think that just says something about Christopher Nolan as a director.
Yes,
he really sort of moves you physically, whether you're crying or clenching your fists or sweating or literally on the edge of your seat. I think he's an absolute trailblazer for doing that kind of cinema. I love it.
I think what he created with Interstellar was made for a cinema screen. You can't get that impact any other way.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite films either. I wouldn't say it's one that I come back to all the time.
No.
Which I do with other films. Other films I go to see, I maybe don't have the same reaction in the cinema, but I would come back to the film multiple times over the years.
Yeah.
Interstellar's not one of those, but it just had that effect on the day.
Yeah, his films really work for the cinema.
Yeah, and that really did have such a huge impact.
It's nice, really, because we didn't go and see too much together, but so it's nice that we both saw that and had the same reaction.
Yeah,
Because we don't always have the same reaction.
it's very rare. So I'd like to discuss the changes to cinema in recent years. For me personally, I'm quite worried.
Okay.
It's not something that I am liking to see. There's so many more blockbusters now, which are just park your brain at the door, you know, go in, enjoy the film. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that type of movie,
There isn't, no.
but they're pushing out everything else.
Yeah. I'm not really a big fan of films that A, don't bring something new to the table, or B, don't challenge the viewer. Like we were saying with
Martin Scorsese, he said exactly the same thing in that discussion we were talking about last week.
yeah,
Exactly the same thing.
I just wish they could be cleverer. You can still be big and popular and be clever at the same time. Why wouldn't you try to be?
Well, that's where your Scorsese and your Christopher Nolan and the likes of those filmmakers have been able to do that.
And when you say that these are the smaller films, not necessarily even indie films, but the smaller films that are getting pushed out and the audiences that want to go and see something, not just to pass a couple of hours, those people are having to go out their way to meet very limited windows of opportunity to go and see films.
They could be in a week and gone.
That's it. If you're not part of the mass audience who go just for something to do, some people go as a throwaway experience and some people want to go because they want to see something new.
Yeah, I think you hear a lot of actors and directors and people in the industry say that they just don't make middle of the range movies anymore. They're either indie, small budget movies, or they are huge budgets. There is no in between anymore. That kind of movie is almost non-existent.
It's like you either have to be making films for the box office or you've got to be making them for the awards circuit. Because if you're not going for the big money, you've got to be going for the big awards, otherwise you're not going to get seen.
Yeah, we've discussed this a few times though, haven't we? That it's this time of year when the awards season's really starting that we get excited because
Oh, yeah.
yes, we'll go and see some of the blockbusters, but you don't get those types of films throughout
No.
the year. It's so rare.
It's back end of the year.
Yeah, you're getting them between what? God, maybe the end of November and February, and it seems like a long time, but really it's not. Not when the rest of the year there's absolutely nothing. Those types of films.
Yeah, exactly.
It's having a not a very good effect, and the fact that certain companies are taking up so much more. I mean, Disney obviously is the prime example in the last decade or so, buying Pixar and Marvel and Star Wars, and now they've got Fox
Yeah.
as well. They're saturating the market.
Exactly, yeah. There's very little opportunity now for other things.
Yeah, there's less like thinking films, dramas, mood pieces, those types of films that have a strong message. You're just not really getting them anymore, and that in itself is affecting cinema going. So, have you noticed any cinema changes? I mean, ticket prices alone,
Ticket
obviously,
prices, yeah. I mean, View were doing quite a good thing recently. Select cinemas that weren't getting the fancy new chairs were having every ticket as $4.99, which is great for me.
Yeah.
But where I live now, they've opted for the comfy seats, which are lovely. Don't get me wrong, they're very nice, but not when it's at the expense of the ticket prices and or the actual number of seats that you can fit in that room. Because it's almost like they've halved, and so many films now are just sold out all the time. You have to like book 6 years in advance to make sure to be able to get in. And when you've got lots of gift cards like me that you can't use on their website, you have to like have planned your cinema trip weeks in advance, gone to the actual venue to buy your tickets, to then go away again, to then come back. Yeah, comfy seats is one thing, but like I said, it's got a knock-on effect on other things. Yeah, I don't know if they were needed, if I'm being honest. I like being quite uncomfortable in the cinema because it keeps you alert.
of trying to compete with home cinemas. People can buy huge TVs now and great sound systems, and they're doing anything that they possibly can to draw you into the cinema to come out. But I mean, if you think about how much it would be for a family to
Yeah.
go, I mean, let alone just one person on their own.
I used to work at View, and on top of that, obviously, is all the concessions, all the food, and everything else that they try to sell to you.
So expensive.
All this stuff, and it's just, just bring your own from the supermarket. Disclaimer, everyone: you can bring your own food to the cinema as long as it's not your own alcohol. You can bring it. Save money.
I don't think it's very fair to expect people to pay prices like that.
No.
Because you're battling yourself there, because people are going to stop coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Cinemas have to be a bit cleverer.
Yeah.
They think what they're doing is drawing people in, and it might be, but is it going to retain people? No. Is it going to bleed them dry? Probably. They're not going to come as often.
And they're doing other things to draw audiences in, like different things. You've got your 4D experience now, which I'm still yet to try.
I can't imagine. I feel like if I were to go to a 4D film of the kind of films I like to see, I'm going to get like spat on or something. You know, there's going to be actual mucus coming out the screen, and people's snot and tears, and actual blood.
What film are you watching, Matt?
I don't know. I just feel like I watch a lot of things where people cry and get hurt.
You hear a lot about the cinemas that some of them have beds now. You can have meals in the cinema, and like have a meal come in, which they're trying all of these unusual things.
I think as like one-off novelty visits, that's great. But if that were to become the norm, I'd just be like, why? If that's what you want from a cinema, then do please stay at home.
Yeah.
The cinema is the cinema. Another thing is I'm a big advocate for cinema etiquette.
Yeah.
And these kind of things,
I was just about to say that.
the offers of food, offers of being more comfortable, it encourages worse behaviour in the cinema. Phones come out, people start talking, people are crunching, chewing, it stinks, making a mess because they feel like they're entitled to do so. Yeah, whereas I like going in, being completely silent. I don't move, I don't breathe, I don't eat, and I watch the film because I've come there to absorb that atmosphere, not to go and sit on the end of someone else's sofa.
Yeah.
Being in their space, I want to be in the cinema's space.
It's extremely rude,
Yeah.
I think, the way people act in cinemas.
Mm-hmm.
It's off-putting for people who do really want to go and see the movies. There have been a few experiences I've had where I just wish some people weren't there.
It ruins the film for you. Your memory of going to that film is defined by the people who you were sat near, and it shouldn't be that way.
The live-action Jungle Book for me was very much like that, because there was a kid climbing all over the railings, like in very front row, in front of me while I was trying to watch the film, and the parents said nothing.
Well, what's funny is that you said that you didn't really enjoy that film, and I'm thinking maybe that might be part of the reason.
It may be part of it, but yeah, I do. I have a bit of a problem with that, and I feel the social media age is what's created that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So I have a question for you.
Do you?
You're gonna have to think about this one.
Okay.
Where do you think cinema will be in 20 years' time?
Oh God. I genuinely don't think it's something anyone can possibly know. I can only say that I know it's not going to be, but I just hope that it's going to be back to how it used to be. And when I say that, I mean like before the extortionate prices, before the culture of eating and bringing phones in. I want it's designed to be a space where you can, to the optimum level, experience what's on the screen, not what's going on in the room. Anything that they can do to make that more of a focus, I'm down for, and I would love to see that in 20 years' time. I'd like to see it now. I honestly really don't know.
I'm not entirely sure. I have a horrible feeling that the prices will just continue to climb. A lot of people are saying that the cinema will become what the theatre is.
Yeah.
It's one of those experiences that you do maybe twice a year.
Yeah.
Becomes more of a specialty, and films will be streamed.
It's an expensive hobby.
Yeah, exactly. The streaming platforms will take over.
Yeah.
The majority of films, and then you'll get maybe the likes of a Christopher Nolan, a Star Wars, what Harry Potter was, things like that.
Yeah.
That will come out, and you will maybe go to the cinema a few times a year, and it'll be the spectacle, and you will get all of the best seats, and they'll have all of these amazing things to draw you in, but it'll cost you a lot of money to go,
Yeah.
and you'll only do it a few times a year, and I have a horrible feeling that it may go that way. I really hope it doesn't.
On the flip side, though, what's interesting is that there are a lot of things that I would prefer to watch at home and stream.
Yeah.
And I do watch a lot at home. Well, obviously more than the cinema. If I were to watch as much in the cinema as I did at home, I would be broke.
That actually leads me to our final thoughts, actually. What side of the line do you stand on? Are you for or against streaming? Are you cinema or streaming? Where do you stand?
I think it'd be unfair to say I was against streaming. I think that'd be hypocritical, actually, because I do stream.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be an advocate for the cinema. I've said that, but obviously there is a convenience in the way that you view films at home
Mm.
as well. It's more manageable.
Yeah.
So it really depends. As long as there's a balance and that cinema doesn't suffer,
Hmm.
I'm more than happy with streaming being a thing. If they were to focus more on TV, that would be lovely as well. I don't want to feel like I can't see certain films because they're exclusive to a platform that you have to pay a subscription fee just to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as cinema doesn't suffer, I've got nothing against streaming existing, and I probably will still stream.
Yeah, I think I stand quite in the middle,
Mm,
really. I'll never stop going to the cinema because it's something I really enjoy, and it's a pastime that it has a nostalgic element for me because it meant such a lot as a
yeah.
child. So I definitely will always still go to the cinema.
Mhm.
But I do stream, and I do like the potential that streaming has, the exciting new content that's being offered, the fact that they have these, like you said, back catalogues that are like a library.
Mm.
I do like that there's aspects of both. So I would like it to stay as is.
As is, it's good.
As we are now, cinema is still a booming industry. I'd like the ticket prices to go down, don't get me wrong.
Always.
I would like it to be, I don't want it to be one or the other, and I don't see why you should have to. I think you can have both, and why can't you have both?
Yeah, I agree. It's the balance of the two.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm an advocate for both,
Yeah.
really. So that leads us to our outro.
Yay!
So, Matt,
Hello.
what film are you recommending this week?
The film I'm going to recommend this week, it's completely unrelated to the topic, I'm afraid, is The Talented Mr. Ripley, which was
Oh,
from
wow.
1999. It's just good. Matt Damon's character is tasked with retrieving a sort of spoilt millionaire playboy in the 1950s from Italy. But when he fails, he sort of becomes increasingly obsessed with his lifestyle. This guy's played by Jude Law, and his girlfriend, who's Gwyneth Paltrow, and things just get really messy. I seem to like films that spiral out of control. And the reason he's talented is because he's very good at lying and forging and impersonating, and it gets actually really quite dark, this film.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Oh, that's a very interesting choice. I've only seen it once. I'd like to rewatch it.
Mm,
An interesting role for Matt Damon, that one.
yeah. Mhm.
He's such a nice guy.
Recently, you've not been seeing the nice side of Mr. Damon.
No, no. So yeah, okay. My recommended film this week is one that I watched for the first time. I'd never seen it before. And my sister has been recommending it to me for years because she loves it. And I had a sibling movie night last week.
Okay.
We watched The Count of Monte Cristo,
Oh, okay.
which came out in, I think it's 2002,
I
2004.
haven't seen this. I'm afraid.
You know what? It was such good fun.
Uh-huh.
It was just one of those really feel good movies. It came out after Gladiator, and it had the Mask of Zorro vibes.
Yes. Yeah.
That kind of vibe. It's the type of movie they just don't make anymore.
Yeah.
And it was just such good fun. It had Jim Caviezel in it as the main character, and it's based on the really famous French novel by Alexandre Dumas.
Yeah.
And he is a young man who's falsely imprisoned by his jealous friend, and he eventually escapes and plans his revenge on his friend. And Guy Pearce plays the jealous.
Oh yeah.
To great effect. It also has Richard Harris in it, and I think it was one of his last roles. And it's got James Frain in it and Michael Wincott, who's just an amazing baddie. He's always a great baddie. So there's loads of faces that you recognise in it that you maybe don't know the names of.
Yeah.
But it was just so much fun. It was really good fun. It was very predictable. You kind of knew what was going to happen, but it was just a really fun romp. It was just really fun. And Richard Harris, anything that Richard Harris is,
He's lovely, yeah.
he's the typical old man part again.
Yeah. He didn't have much of a choice at that point in his life, I don't think.
Absolutely fabulous. So yeah,
I haven't seen that. I'll put that on a list.
it was definitely good fun.
Mhm.
So Matt, what's the next film that you're going to watch?
The next film I'm probably going to watch is probably going to be a Disney film. We've got Disney coming up next week.
We do.
Yeah, there's a few that I haven't seen before, so I won't name them right now. But yeah, I'm on the Disney trail. I'll say no more.
Well, for me, we've already mentioned what I'm watching. I'm going to the cinema this evening to see Last Christmas.
Mhm.
I'm a little skeptical.
There's been a few reviews.
Yes, I love Christmas, so I'm sure I'll really enjoy the film for
Yeah.
that alone. I love Emilia Clarke. I think she's just
Mhm.
fab. Emma Thompson is, oh God, she's just so badass. I think she's amazing. So I'll enjoy that.
Even if it's rubbish, though, Christmas films can get away with being quite shit.
They can. The only thing that I'm a bit skeptical about, and I'm a bit upset about really, is that apparently the twist was given away in the trailer. And because people have
Oh.
talked about the trailer, I think I know what the twist is.
I have read about a twist, but I didn't realise that it was any concrete.
Yeah, so I'm really, if that is what it is, what I think it is, I'm going to be a bit disappointed because
Is she dead?
I'm
That's what it is, isn't it? She's dead.
not saying anything, but
The butler did it.
if it is, I think I will be disappointed because it'll have been ruined a bit for me.
They may be deliberately throwing you off the scent, and it's something completely
I
different.
hope so. I
And
really
she's
hope
not
so.
actually dead.
Maybe not. Matt, like you said, coming up in next week's episode, we've got Disney.
Hooray! I'm actually quite excited.
Good. I'm pleased you are because Disney's more of my thing, isn't it? It's not
Hmm.
really your.
It's not my go-to.
No.
Yeah, for reasons I'll probably explain next week.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that. Where can they find us in the meantime?
You can find us on Facebook and YouTube as CineChat Podcast. We're on Instagram at CineChat_official, and you're probably already listening on Spotify, iTunes, or Spreaker. And we have an email address, which is
CineChatOfficial@gmail.com.
I'm always going to test you since you got it wrong in the first episode.
That's fair enough. I think
I
that's
can't
fair.
help it. I really can't help it.
We have just joined Twitter, so if you want to look for us on there, we are CineChat. So have a look on there for us. We will be tweeting, which will be an interesting thing for us because I don't think either of us really understand Twitter very well.
Absolutely not.
So check it out.
If you tweet us or comment us or email us, whatever, or you want a shout out or you want to ask us something, I'm pretty sure we're more than happy to oblige, and we want to connect with you. So please do.
And share us to your friends. The
Yeah.
more people listen, the better.
If they love Disney, next week's the week.
That's the week.
Hooray.
That's it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.